What's up, good people, man? We back live. Your real estate investor next door, my guy Cordero, back live. And today, man, we're here to talk about the beginner's perfect wholesale cold calling strip, right? Like as a beginner, what do you say to a seller? Like how do you approach sellers and talk to them about their property? We're gonna break down exactly what you should say to sellers, how we approach sellers, and what's gonna help you get closer to getting your deal as a beginner. Somebody that's trying to step into this thing and you're cold calling. Even if you're not cold calling, you're still talking to sellers. So it's like just understanding what you need to say to sellers as a beginner when you're cold calling or talking to somebody cold when it comes to figuring out the interest of selling their property. And my guy Cordero, man, cold with the cold calling, man, cold with the cold calling. So we're going to break this down for y'all, man. If y'all got questions, make sure y'all go and let us know. Y'all know how we do it. We ain't seen any questions y'all got, man. But what do you say to somebody that's interested in selling property? What do you say to somebody who might not be interested in selling property? How do you start those calls? How do you start those conversations? Cordero, man, go ahead and I love the way you start your conversations, man. You're smooth with it. So we gonna let Cordero jump in this thing. But first, man, gonna shout some people out. Wolf of Wall Street up in this thing, man.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. Hey, man, what's up, man?
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, and I'll say this, man. As time goes on, I'm growing. I'm learning a lot more and more just about talking to people, and especially about cold calling. One of the major differences that between when I started and now that I realize that I always want to point out to people, especially if you're new, this is something to keep at top of mind. Most people, when they get, especially when they're doing cold calling or just marketing in general, but cold calling, is you get to talking to the seller and you really try to do like two, three, four things at once on that one call. But you got to understand that cold call, that's just the initial point of contact with that person. You don't have to try to lock them up on that call. The point of cold calling is to you're prospecting. Hey, Anita, what's going on, Anita? But you're prospecting and you're trying to Ali and you're trying to generate leads. That's what you're doing when you're cold calling. And by lead, it means this is a person that could lead to a deal. You're not cold calling to lock up a deal. And I've locked up deals on a cold call a couple of times, actually, plenty of times, really. The more you in the dialer, the more likely that that's going to happen. It's just like you call it and they just ready to go right there and this stuff fall into place. Perfect. Yeah. But for the most part, it looks like, okay, I'm cold calling to get leads, people who might be interested now, they're ready to go, but we need to follow up. We need to do some more research and give them a call back. They need to do something. We need to set up a walkthrough, whatever it is. Or these is people that said, well, I'm not really ready to go right now, but in 3 months, my kid gonna graduate from school, and then we out of here. We about to sell the house and go. Can you call me back in 3 months? It's like, okay, they're not really ready to go right now, but we're gonna push them over to our lead follow-up system, which is gonna be our CRM. And CRM stands for customer relations management, whatever. But we'll talk about that down the line. You know what I mean? Or that I use Podio. Byron uses Podio as well. We use special like automations within our Podios and stuff like that. But I just want you to get in the mind that a lot of people, they be kind of like confused and you don't really know what you're doing on a cold call because you don't realize the whole point of cold calling is just to have that initial contact and go through your list of people, your prospects, and you're prospecting through your prospect to say, not interested, wrong number, don't call me again, DNC, not interested, wrong number.
Not and you can get a lot of that. You can get a lot more don't call me again, I'm not interested, all that stuff. And you ever gonna get people who say yes. And that's the things you gotta get to your brain too,
That's a big thing. And I say this because I think a lot of people, you're thinking I'm cold calling to lock a deal up, and you get 99% no, don't call me, wrong numbers, you're gonna really feel like, for one, like you're not doing what you're supposed to. You're gonna feel unaccomplished. You're gonna feel disconnected from an actual end result while you cold calling, because you thinking like, dang, I ain't like, not only have I locked nobody up, but most of the people I talked to told me not to call them again. I told me to get out my face. Don't call me. I'm tired of this. Why do you guys keep calling me? Blah, 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 blah. Right? It happens. Just remember that. And I always start with explaining that, because nobody explained that to me. Before we even talk about the script and just saying this and say that, it's like, just know you're cold calling to determine who's going to be a lead. Then when you follow up with your leads, then the conversation should be slightly different. It's like, hey, you said you were interested in selling. Let's get off deeper into this conversation. But now let's get into what we actually say on the cold call. Like, what do you actually say to these people? Whether, like you said, whether they're interested or not interested. One thing I will say, and I even start with my VAs, when I'm training VAs, when I'm bringing somebody else on my team, whoever it might be, before we start talking about what to say, we start thinking about how we say it. And this is going to be big too. People can hear your energy over the phone. They can hear, and especially if you're going to be cold calling all day, or you're going to be cold calling even for a couple of hours, in order to be consistent doing this, you're going to have the right energy. So that way, after you've gone through 100 no's, you still got the same mental capacity to deliver your cold call pitch the same way, with the same amount of enthusiasm as because, and I was just listening to Tony Robbins earlier. He was talking about like the door-to-door salesman, how you can go from door to door, and he might have the tenacity to go to 100 doors. But by the time he gets to that 100th door, it's not, hey, I got a product for you that will be great for you. It's like, you don't want to buy anything from me, do you? And that's the tone. That's what you sound, and you don't want to sound like that. You don't want to sound like, you probably don't want to sell your house. I'm not the guy. And even if you don't verbally say it, what he talks about is in your tone, in your pitch, the way you're talking comes off as that. So this is just one small tip, is to smile while you're talking. Make sure you smile and make sure you come in with that energy. They can hear you smiling. Hey, really actually smile, and then they'll hear that. And just keep that upbeat energy while you're in the dialer. Make sure you're doing things, and we'll get off into this a little bit more, but make sure you're doing things. You're not listening to trash, or what are you doing while you're doing that? Sometimes I got my headphones in, I'm listening to a book, I'm listening to an audio book, I'm listening to Tony Robbins or something like that while I'm in the dialer. Do that to keep your energy up. So by the time you do get a hold of that person, you got the right energy. But what to say, I'll give you my intro, man. Do you want me to go over the script line by line? Because I can't.
Yeah, we'll hit a good bit of it for the next like 20 minutes. And
let's go into that part two.
Yeah, you probably just hit the intro kind of today, kind of get into it, and then we'll come back with another one and finish up the script.
For sure. So let's talk about the intro, what you can do or what you should be saying to them, or at least what I say. And why? Because I kind of taken some time to get my intro right. So obviously, a couple things I like to do on the intro when I'm talking to sellers is I want to sound what I would consider, I call it unassuming. So I'm not jumping on the phone.
Or confused.
It's confused is the simple way, but I think really it's like unassuming, because what I'm not doing is I'm not assuming things like, hey, I'm calling to speak to Byron Scott. Hey, Byron Scott, am I talking to you, man? Hey, are you got a green shirt on and a chain on right now? Sitting in your chair. It's like, if I call him out of the blue, he didn't know me, I didn't know him, and I start assuming a whole lot of stuff about him, he would probably get uncomfortable. And most people just naturally gonna put their defense up. So you'll see as I break down this intro how I kind of try to position everything to be slightly like unassuming. I'm not really doing too much. So it's like, hey, I don't know if I have the right number, but I was calling to speak to Byron.
It's the pauses, man, that get me every time. It's like, being able to be sitting there talking about, yeah, man, hey, we need to call this guy right here. We need to call this guy. He's like, let me off in the call right now. He called him and he's like, And I'm like, he done forgot who he calling. He's like, no, he just do it every time, man.
Yeah.
It's the pause, man. So you say hello, do it again, man. Do it
Hey, I don't know if I have the right number, but I was calling to speak to Byron.
again. Hey,
Yeah,
I
and it
remember.
sounds natural, but I've done it so many times. Practice it, you know what I mean? And I don't just do that on a cold call. I do that on any call. Um, Even if I already spoke to the person and I know who it is, I might not say I don't know if I have the right number, but I will say, "Hey, am I speaking to? Is this Larry? Oh, hey, Larry, this is Cordero, man. We talked earlier. You know what I mean? Yeah. The number one reason why I do this is to come off unassuming. I'm not leaning into it like, oh man, this is Byron Scott. I know who I'm talking to. No, I'm coming off there for two reasons. One, again, they're gonna put their guard up, and you don't want them to be all in self-defense mode while they're talking to you. And then two, people like to help people. And if he sees that I'm not just calling because I'm calling about a property. I don't even know if I'm in the right place. I was calling to speak to, is this Byron? And he go like, well, let me help you out, dog. Yeah, this is Byron. Or even if it is the wrong number, it gets in front of that objection because if it's the wrong number, and when you're cold calling, a good deal of the people you talk to might be the wrong number. It just depends. And so I'm getting in front of that objection by not leaning into, hey, this is Steve Smith. Hey, Steve Smith, this is Cordero. Like, don't say their last name. Don't say their last name. Even if people ask me, what's the last name? Because like sometimes I'm like, hey, I don't know if I had the right number. I was calling to speak to Byron. Byron who? What's the last name? I'm like, I don't really even know. I was calling about a property, and I'll go on. But after I ask them that question, hey, am I in the right place? I let them confirm. Yeah, this is me. Oh, hey, Byron. And I repeat their person's name. I say their name. You want to say their name to them as many times. That's just building rapport. That's a small little thing that you can do, building rapport. Hey, Byron, my name is Cordero. I was just calling actually in regards to a property. I don't know if you even still own it, man, on Main Street in Clarksville, Tennessee. Another thing I'm doing, I'm still unassuming. I'm not saying, hey, this is Byron, you own that property. No, it's like, I don't know if you still even own this property on Main Street. And I didn't say 123 Main Street. I didn't say the street number. I just said the street name. Don't say the street number. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to Kaz, man. But don't say the street number. Just say the street name. Again, this goes into being unassuming, and that person still, they're going to be listening to your confused tone. They're going to want to help you out more than they're going to want to be against you. Now, you got to put a number of these factors all together, though. It's like, one, I'm still talking, I'm still confused, but I'm talking with a smile. Hey, man, I don't know if I have the right number, but I was calling to speak to Byron. Oh, hey, Byron. My name is Cordero, man. I was actually calling in regards to a property. I don't know if you even still own that, man, on Main Street in Clarksville. I didn't say 123 Main Street. That's just,
Yeah, I do still own that property.
yeah. What it is, and I'm sure you get, and I'll say this, I'm sure you get calls like this all the time, man. But I work for a local investing company here in Tennessee, and we work with buyers who are purchasing properties in your area. Just wanted to know if you were thinking of selling at this time. And then that, again, man, one thing I'm doing, and I'll talk a little bit more about how I'm saying it, but one thing I'm doing here is what I did not say is, I don't even know if you even still own that property. I'm sure you get calls like this all the time. Just want to know if you were thinking of selling. I did not say, I just want to know if you're looking for a cash offer. Now, Byron, why would I not say, I want to know if you're looking for a cash offer, as opposed to say, are you interested in selling?
I mean, because some people just, they just want a cash offer for the sake of having a cash offer. Some people's like, yeah, give me a cash offer. But if you're looking to sell, then you're looking to sell.
Yeah.
I'm looking for people who are looking to sell, not people who just interested in a cash offer.
Exactly. Because first of all, one of them denotes motivation. one of them questions, let's talk about, hey, are you actually interested in selling? Versus, hey, are you looking for a cash offer? Because here's one of the number one objections. I can't say one of the number one. This is one of the top objections is, yeah, anything's for sale for the right price.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If I say, are you looking for an offer? And I direct the conversation to start talking about price, and I ask him a question, hey, are you looking for an all cash offer on your home? Then even if that person doesn't want to sell, even if they don't have any real motivation, and we're looking for motivated sellers here, if they have no real motivation, then they can say yeah to that question because anything's for sale for the right price. So don't ask them that. And then two, the biggest reason why I do this is actually I'm playing chess. Once you start off the call like this, by the time you get off into the weeds of asking them questions, what's your motivation, and you done built rapport, you get deeper off into the actual meat and body of the conversation. They could never be like, well, what's your offer? It's like, well, sir, or they can never start trying to play games or with you or whatever. You could be like, sir, well, that's why I asked you at the top of the call if you were interested in selling.
Yeah.
They can't say, well, I mean, you called me. No, sir. But yeah, I did call you. But at the top of this call, I asked you, were you interested in selling? And you told me yes. You know what I'm saying? And that happens quite a bit with some people when they get to plan. It's just like, I'm setting this up at the top of the call. Are you interested in selling? They can't be like, well, what's your offer, man? You called me. You want to know, you guys give me, well, sir, I just called. And that's why the first question I said, are you interested in selling? And that's just a better way. That's just a better foot verbally to start the conversation with. Then, hey, are you looking for a cash offer? Now, cash offer might get you more bites, but ultimately, it's just going to pull a lot of people in that waste your time. This really at the top of the call. You see what I'm saying? So don't ask about the cash offer. Ask them if they're interested in selling. And then if they say yes, hold on. The word cash gets everyone attention. It gets everybody attention.
People that's interested and the people who ain't interested.
Exactly. Real talk. You know, especially the people who are not interested. People, and I really just hate. I've been doing this for so many years, and I just found like, bro, when you get to talking to that one person, well, what's your offer? If they get to only talking about the price and they don't even want to kind of discuss any type of motivation or any real reason that they need to sell, then they don't want to talk to me about a problem that I could solve. Then, I mean, there have been, I want to say about 3 times since I've been doing it where that person was all about cash. They didn't care about no motivation, no reason to sell, none of that. And the deal worked out. They were just like, man, I don't care about none of that. I don't want to talk to you about none of that. If you can get me this price, then I'll sell. And I was like, hold on, we can actually do that price. And then I bought it. I was like, what? Okay, I think we might be able to make that happen, and it worked. But that's so rare. You waste a lot of time talking about that. One thing, two things I want to mention. One, notice too, I gave him the info right there, him or her, whoever you're talking to. I work with the local investing company here in Tennessee, Georgia, and we work with buyers who are purchasing property in your area. I didn't say I am a buyer looking to buy your property. Now, this right here, we're establishing this in the intro. So that means I'm telling them this up front. So ain't no, are you guys wholesalers? Are you are you going to be the buyer? Well, like I said at the top of the call, sir, I work for a company, and the company works with buyers. You know what I mean? It's like our company works with the network of investors who are purchasing property in your area. And just wanted to know if you were thinking of selling at the time. That's after this person has established that they do own it. They do, in fact, own that property. This is who I'm talking to. And I'm just unassuming. Oh, I'm glad I got you, man. I work for a company, a local investing company here in Tennessee, and we work with buyers who are purchasing property in your area. Just want to know if you were thinking of selling at this time. Yeah. And then boom. You know what I mean?
And establishing the expectation up front, a couple of things. One, that we work with a group of buyers, that we're not actual buyers. Two, are you looking to sell that property? You know what I'm saying? Just establish some things up front, saves you on the back end, letting people know where you stand up front, kind of kills all the other stuff, before you get into the conversation. You don't even really need to waste your time having.
Exactly. And that's why the whole intro of my script is written out this way in particular, because I know that there are a couple objections that we're going to deal with. Just get in front of them. The wrong number objection. This is the wrong number. Oh, my bad. I don't know if I had the right number, but I was calling to speak to. Or, yeah, that's my property, but blah, 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 blah. Hey, I don't, I don't know if you even still own it. I sold that. You're going to get that often, the wrong number or sold.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that. But I'm asking questions to kind of soften the blow if they do get that. But if they get past all of that, and then we get down to the real nitty-gritty, it's hey, just want to know if you were thinking of selling at this time and not are you interested in cash offer? And then if they say yes, what I say then, and this is important, this is still a part of the intro. This is a big important part of the intro. If they say yes to that question, then if they say no, okay, thank you for your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Keep it pushing. Don't keep trying to talk to them if they said no, they're not interested. I've heard people say that to try to keep the conversation alive. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
If they say yes, okay, great. For starters, what I'd like to do is get some initial information from you about the property so that I can pass this to my manager and see if it's a good fit for us. Is now a good time to ask a few questions?
Bam.
Like, you know what I mean? And so what this does is this is now setting the expectation for what I call the body of the conversation. And this is still on a cold call. This is setting the expectation for everything. For starters, what I like to do is get some initial information from you about the property so I can pass this on to my manager and see if it's a good fit for us. This doesn't say, okay, for starters, what I'd like to do is ask you some questions so I can give you an offer today, right?
Yeah.
And so what inevitably is going to happen, even after you've read this to them, is they're going to say, oh, actually, can you give me an offer? Well, like I said, sir, it's not my job to give out the offers. I'm going to get this information, pass it along to my manager, and then my lead manager be able to follow back up with you or appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. Or my lead manager, or we'll be able to I'm gonna get this over to my acquisition or my underwriters, and then I'll be able to give you a call back. If you're a one-man show, you can just say, I'll get it over to them, and then I'll be able to give you a call back to follow up and actually get you an offer. But win, lose, or draw, you setting that expectation at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that way you're not worried about, and some of the hard-headed sellers is gonna be like, well, what's your offer, man? Give you an offer. Hey, I told you at the top of this call that we weren't going to do that. I was going to get some information, pass it on to my sellers. And then also I asked, is now a good time to ask a few questions? What you don't want to do is just start asking them questions and they on their way to pick up their kids or drop their kids off, or they go on their way to work, or they at work and they got this far. They're going to be real frustrated. And you setting yourself up for failure. I've done that too many times. Just went right into, hey, is this your property? All right, man. Just wanted to know, what's the condition? It's like, whoa, chill out now.
Yeah, they ain't got the time. And then if you talk to the person at the right time when they're able to actually sit down and discuss this with you, you got a lot better chance of getting more stuff out of them and having actual, meaningful conversation versus I'm on the move. I really don't want to go through this. I might be telling you no because I'm busy. You know what I'm saying? Not because it's a real no, but because I really need to get off this phone right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you want to make sure you're spending people time and that you're hitting them at the right time. And then it increases your chances of reaching them at the right time again. You know what I'm saying? You may just try to get off that phone and then you ain't able to ever get back in touch with them again. Because you don't even know what's a good time to even call them.
Yeah.
That's one of my big things. Like, man, before you ever get off a call with somebody, you better know when you're gonna talk to them, and they better know when y'all gonna talk again. You know what I'm saying? And getting to know what time of the day works for that person is big.
No, that's major, man. And if we had time to get through the entire script, you will see that the very last thing after we go through everything, as I tell my VAs or whoever, it's major, it's important. You get a follow-up time, but also ask them what day and what time. So that way that they verbally committed to you. Like, call me Thursday in the morning before 10 or in the afternoon after 6. So that way in their mind, they're like, well, I already told, like, when that day come, they're like, man, I told somebody to call me back at this time. They're expecting it. And so it increases your chances or likelihood that you'll be able to get on the horn with that person again. But that's big, man. And two, to the point of rescheduling a time, and this is at the top of the call. If we've gone through this whole intro and they said that they was interested, I was like, is now a good time? They're like, man, make it quick, man. Hurry up, hurry up. And I'm like, wait, whoa. I got these questions. Don't go through the script. Say, well, is there a better time that I can get a hold of you? If you are interested, and this is the last thing I asked them, it's like, is there a better time that I can get a hold of you? What time would be good? I want to make sure that we got time just to ask a couple questions. Like, if you're in a rush, I don't want to take too much of your time right now. Yeah, call me back tomorrow. Okay, I can call you back tomorrow. But I mean, you are interested in selling that property, right? Yeah, man, call me back tomorrow. If they say, yeah, call me back, then that's the person worth calling me back. But if they say, call me back, and I said, you are interested in, selling that property, they're like, not really, but, I'll see what you got to say. I'm like, you might not get a call back. You might just get put back in the rotation. But call them back, though. But still, it's just knowing at the top of your head, it's just like, this person might not be so hot. But take as many opportunities as you can, especially in the beginning. That's why you cold call it in the first place. So definitely do that. But yeah, that's the intro of the call. And you can see I'm setting the whole point, and you'll look at at the rest of the call is I start asking about condition, time, motivation, price. And then I get them with the outro, okay, I'm gonna get this information over to my team, set up the follow-up call, and then say, this is our company, REI Group. Thank you, yada, yada, yada. We'll talk about that another time. But this is the intro. And the point of this whole intro, you playing chess. You're setting every question I got in there is set up because I know what their next statement is going to be. I know what they're about to say next. So I'm going to get in front of it. And so before you even get to the point where they asking you silly things like, are you the person going to be buying the property? Well, sir, I told you I work for a company who works with a group of investors. All of this is already in the intro for you. So you ain't got to worry about that. Just say it like this and you can get through the call for sure. But one thing I do want to say, if we got just a minute, is rapport. Building rapport by mirror tonality. That's three things you got to do at the intro. Because what they say, like the first 10 seconds of the call gets you the next 30 seconds or something like that. You're sounding unassuming. You're not coming in assuming that it's like or curious or confused a little bit. I don't know if I had that. You're doing that. You're talking with a smile, and you're also mirroring their tonality. Now, this is as simple as matching their speed that they're talking and the volume at which they're talking, right? This is one little major key that you got to do, dog. You cannot skip this. Tonality is the speed and the volume. Tonality is a wide range of things that encompass in the concept of tonality. Because I'm from the South, and sometimes you talk to somebody, you might get somebody talk from Atlanta, talk like this or something like that, or you might get you a country boy and he talking like this, and you gotta that falls into the realm of tonality as a person's accent and how close you can get to their accent, but in a simple way, because everybody can't do this. Especially with the VAs, I can't teach them to mirror a country accent. So it's just the speed at which that person's talking, their tempo, and the volume. So if you...
Yeah, just like the guy you ran into today you talked to earlier, he was at a construction site or something. He's like, hello? He was kind of loud. You could tell there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's like, you got somebody that's loud. They talking like, hey, what's going on, man? Hello? And you can't be sitting there like...
I was calling to speak to such and such, man. It's like that's not gonna work. And maybe he just, especially if you hear that his background is loud, he might not even hear you at all, let alone he been yelling at people been yelling at him all day. You just not meshing. Don't do that. To the best of your ability, come up to their volume and their speed. You might catch you a loud New Yorker, no offense to anybody. I have a Caribbean accent, and that's wonderful. Accent is the hardest thing to mimic when it comes to tonality, but volume and speed, if they're talking fast, talk fast. And you get a loud guy, hey man, yeah, this is Cordero. I would just want to give you a quick call. About the property on Main Street. Are you still interested in selling? That's more like a lead follow up intro. But you know,
Yeah.
but if it's a old lady, hello, I'm saying, oh, hey, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know if I have the right number. I was calling to speak to Sarah. Am I in the right place? I'm still unassuming. I'm still smiling, but I'm not loud and I'm not talking fast. I slowed it down for her because if
Yeah.
she's hard of hearing, it'd probably be easier if I talk slower and clearer and but a little bit more quiet, right? Even got a little bit closer up to the mic, which I will do. That's big when you do tonality because like my lady from the or whoever that is from the Caribbean, you know, um, you cannot just do a country accent. You can't pull that out no more than I could just do a Jamaican accent or Caribbean accent or whatever. It's like I couldn't do that, not well, and get away with it. So I can mirror that person's tone, like their volume and their speed. That's all you got to do, and get the better you get at doing that, the better you get at doing that, the more responses, the better your calls will go. Even the calls that they're not interested. I was in the dialer earlier, and there were people who were just, even when they're not interested, it's not like, oh my God, I'm tired of you guys calling me. They could start off frustrated, but once I mirror their tonality, I'm talking with a smile, and I'm just communicating with them like a human being. It
Yeah.
it flips on his head. Well, by some people just like, how did you get my number? Why do people keep calling me? I'm not interested. Oh man, I'm so sorry about that. You get calls about this all the time, probably. Yeah, I do. How do you guys get my number? Well, I'm sorry, man. I don't know how the other companies are getting your number. But what we do is we're kind of reaching out a particular area because our investors are buying in this area. But I absolutely apologize for that. And I can tell, I mean, you're not interested in selling. Do you have any other property that you want? No, I don't. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you so much. You have a good day. And I literally had a lady, she said, thank you. Thank you for explaining that, taking the time to explain that. You have a good day as well. I'm like, dang, that was supposed to be me getting cussed out. And if this was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it would have been me getting cussed out for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about smiling while you're on the phones and mirroring their tonality. Come to their level. If they're kind of, the volume is up here, raise your volume. You can do that. I don't care what accent you got. You can either talk louder or talk quieter. And then you can talk slower. You can kind of chill it out, calm it down, talk, a little bit more even. So that way I'm talking clearer. Or I can speed it up. I can talk a little bit faster because I know that person. And especially if that person tell you I only got a couple minutes, but man, I'm good to go right now. Ask me the question. Show them that you speeding up. Talk faster if they like, yeah, man, I got to do something. But yeah, speed up to talk to their speed. If that guy's in a rush, talk in a rush too, right? And that'll really help you out, man. But those are the biggest things. Go back and rewatch this video, and you'll be on Byron's level in no time.
Man, be on Cordero level in no time, man. But no doubt, I think that tonality. I was on the phone with a couple of people this morning, man. Just like being unassuming. Somehow it does just build rapport. It's like it's crazy. It's like people see that you don't know what, like you seem confused and you seem like you don't know where you at.
Because they want to help you.
Yeah, they want to help you, and somehow like it just kind of helps build that rapport. For them helping you y'all to get on the same page. But and then the tonality after that, you gotta listen to get that tonality. You know what I'm saying? You gotta listen to that person talk.
That's big.
You gotta let them talk.
That's
what
big.
I'm saying? So don't be afraid. Like that intro makes them talk too. I don't know. I don't know if I reached the right person. Call speak with Kevin.
Listen, yeah.
Oh yeah, this kid, like it makes them say like, oh yeah, this is Kevin. You know what I'm saying? Versus you call and be like, hey, this is Cordero with Hometown Cash Shoppers. I was calling you about a property. You didn't went through all of that, and they ain't said a word.
Oh, you don't went through all of that, and they're like, you got the wrong number.
Exactly.
Well, our first thing is, I don't know if I had the right number, but I was calling to speak to. So I didn't go through my whole pitch. I didn't give you my company name and all of that, just for you to tell me I got the wrong number. But you are absolutely right about that, man. That's one thing I guess I forgot to mention. Before you can do any of this, you need to not just listen, but actively listen. That means you're not just listening, thinking about, okay, I'm going to say the next thing in the script, or I'm thinking about my response. He needs to say something here, and then I'm going to say this. Listen to whatever that person says and how they say it. And that's kind of it's a practice thing because I definitely got that wrong for a long time. But over time, you get to better to where you can listen to what they're saying and how they say it. And even Byron pointed out, he could tell that you can listen to their background. If you can tell that the dude's on a construction site or he's working, or you can tell stuff going on, or maybe they're in their car with the window down or something like that, you like, okay, I'm listening to everything that this person got going on. So that way you can respond accordingly. Maybe I do need to talk louder because he in a car on the way to do something or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Sometimes you use that background, build a little rapport or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
When you hear their spouse talking in the back, oh,
you don't want
hey,
to
how's it going?
yeah, you don't want to get too deep into it, but you kind of hint a little bit at what the background. Because I think Cordero, you did that earlier with that guy who was at the church, like, oh, dang, sound like a little busy. This is a good time, talk or whatever. You see what I'm saying? He kind of threw just a little bit of hint of it into what he was already gonna say. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I think that's really good. I think that's cool.
But I did it wrong too, though. You can do it wrong, but I did it wrong when I followed back up with him because he told me to call him back at 4:00. I was like, I called him back. I didn't know he was at a construction site, but I could tell he was doing something. He was just like, man, I'm swamped. Tomorrow I'm going to be in the field. I said, are you in the military? He said, no. I work for construction. So it kind of was off-putting when I asked him if he was in the military, and he wasn't. He almost like, it's low key, not like he got offended, but he was like, no, not me. So
Not me.
that's the problem. It's like the better you get at it, the more you listen. That's why you're unassuming at the top of the call. But the more you listen, the more you can interject and make assumptions. And that'll do you good, but you're listening to make the assumptions. But if you start making assumptions too quick, you're putting your foot in your mouth, dog. You stepping on your own toes. You doing your. I've been there, bro. I done made way too many assumptions too fast on a call, thinking that I knew something, and it just didn't go well. Hey, I'm calling to speak to Steve. No, I'm like, what? Do you know Steve? Are you his wife? Are you guys married? Maybe I can. That's my ex-husband, and I don't want to. And
Oh my God.
I'm too deep. I didn't ask too many questions. I didn't even want to go there. So don't be too assuming, especially at the top of the call. But it gets you in the door so that way you can actively listen. And then the more you get it, then the more you can start and ask probing questions. Again, we'll talk about the body of the call, the cold call. And that's where I get into asking the probing questions. And I structure the body in a certain way where it's condition first, time, motivation, and then price. Condition just to build rapport, and we'll talk way more in depth about it. And then time right before motivation, because time and motivation goes hand in hand. And then price, because you always want to put price last. You get to talking about price before you talked about the condition of the property or why they want to sell it or how soon that they want to do all of this. You're gonna look foolish and you're gonna look like an amateur. And you're not gonna have no ammo. So if they say, I've had it to where the person said a price, and I'm like, yeah, right. And then because I didn't talk about the condition or none of that, I was like, yeah, oh, you want $500,000 for this house? Yeah, right. I guess this person playing a joke on me. And I click on the Zestimate, I'm like, whoa, it might be, not only might be a $500 house, but 500,000 might be a good deal. Yeah. So I was like, get the information first and then talk about price. Right. But, we'll go over that at a different time. But, I think if y'all can master this intro and, just make sure you got the tonality, smile while you're talking. So that way on the 130th call, you sound just as fresh as on the first call. Because if by that 130, that might be the call that's your person, but you on the phone like, I mean, is it? You probably don't even want to talk to me right now, man. You don't want to sell your house, do you? You don't actually want to. You don't have a problem. It's like you're putting off negative vibes. Like, make sure you're able to do that. And I used to play the Nintendo Switch while I was in the dialer, and just be on that thing. Call come in, pause it. Yeah, hey, how can I? But now, like I said, I'm listening to positive things and making sure that I'm keeping my head above water while you're in the dialer. You got to do that the whole way. You got to do it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think that's key, man. But shoot, we've been on this thing about 40 minutes, man, on the late tip, man. Shoot, man, we gotta start scheduling these during the day for sure, man. But I'm glad we getting them in, though. I'm pretty sure there's people tapping in. That's glad we getting it in, man. I appreciate you coming through, Cordero, man. We gonna hit it up again, finish this script, and man, just keep bringing out videos. So if you got questions, leave them below, or just hit us up, on IG or whatever, or right here. Just let us know what you want us to do, man, on these lives for sure.
Yeah, and if you want a copy of my script, follow me on IG and message me on Instagram.
What is your IG? I don't even know if I know your IG.
I don't even know if I know my IG, man. Cordero Martin 615. I think I gotta get like better. We gotta figure out a way because I'm not good with my technology. But man, you see, I'm trash on the IG, so I'll start posting stuff. But hit me up on there, inbox me. I'll give you a copy of my script if you want it for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man, Cordero cold on the cold call, man. So on any call, but shoot, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. Until tomorrow, man. Peace out.
I'll let y'all.